What is up, guys? Pie Muffin here, and we are back with our Tales of Crestoria video. So, all the posts, there might be a few more posts that we'll see as we catch up on everything, but pretty much everything for the Tales of Crestoria channel has been posted. Some pretty cool stuff was shown today. Unfortunately, I'm just going to say this in the beginning, so if you're here for a specific thing, like an official release date or a release date for the beta, they did not even talk about it yet, so there's nothing for that yet, but they said, before they said early May for the beta, so, figure anytime before the 20th of May, we should expect it. I would say probably maybe like the 13th or the 14th, because I still think they'll aim for a release around Tales Fest. Even if Tales Fest doesn't happen next month, I still think they'll aim for a release there, so doing the beta like a month before that would probably be pretty good, so figure around like the 13th or 14th, something like that, maybe for the beta. We still don't know what the beta is going to entail, because usually for gacha games, betas or soft releases, as they call them, are usually the same thing, and it's usually just a case of, okay, these specific regions get the game now, so we can stress test it and see how everything works, and then we'll release it to the rest of the world later on. So that's usually what they end up doing in these situations, but we'll just have to wait and see. It could just be a beta where we get to try the online, but I've never really seen a gacha game do that, where you just use like preset teams. Usually betas are just the same thing as a soft release, but we'll have to wait and see. So real quick before we hop in, let's just go over everything that's going to be talked about here. Obviously, if you don't want to listen to me ramble about it, you can literally just go to the Tales of Crestoria Twitter and read about this and watch all. I'm not going to be playing the video clips. I'll just explain what was in each one. So let's go. They did introductions, game overview, talked about the theme song. They showed off Memoria Stone illustrations, multiplayer battles, Tales of History, Q&A with the voice actors of Vicious and Kanata, and then they talked about the pre-registration campaign. There were a couple new announcements, which weren't really new, and then their signing off messages. So let's just go over everything. I don't want this to be too long, but so this was the first one. This was the first kind of video message right here, where they basically just talk about, I hope you're looking forward to Tales of Crestoria, all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much what they said, the same thing right here. Just talking about, who they're playing, what they're excited about, that kind of stuff right there. They go to explain what is Tales of Crestoria. It is a game featuring an all-new cast of characters in a brand new story with mobile-optimized gameplay that you can pick up and play anywhere, anytime, anywhere. So here's a little illustration of that. Obviously, we already knew that, characters like Leon, Milla, and Luke would be very prevalent characters, so they are in the picture right there. They explain what Tales of Crestoria is again. Live, even if it's a sin, was Tales of Crestoria. RPG written in blood and betrayal. An elaborate original story unfolds around these 6 characters. It'll be interesting to see how they differ this story from Crestoria on PC when. That's funny. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So it's interesting how this is going to differ from Tales of the Rays, because obviously mobile games just go on and on until their story is fully told or whatever. But it'll be interesting because this is going to be like an actual full cast of characters. So I wonder like how they're going to write each arc of the story, or what their plans are, because, I mean, you can even just tell, just based on these characters, these are not the big bad 2 characters that are going to be in charge of everything in the world. These are obviously just going to be the first stepping stone of what we have to deal with moving forward. So this is the group that sang the opening, and they talked about what it was like to sing the opening. These are the SR versions of Kanata, Mizella, and Vicious that we are going to get through just playing the story. So SRs will not have Mystic Arts. Just saying that right now. So if you want characters with Mystic Arts, you're going to have to pull them from the gacha system. They are going to be SSRs that have Mystic Arts. And that's pretty much how that's going to go. It kind of reminds me of Opera Omnia. If you want like an EX skill, you literally have to pull their EX weapon. You're not going to have an ultimate attack unless you actually pull that stuff. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. if you want to have truly optimal teams, you are going to have to pull SSRs. It won't be something... not everything in the game is going to be beatable with just these story characters. They talk about what Memoria stones are, which we already know. It's essentially just the gacha system right here. We got to see the Memoria stone illustrations for Kanata. So this is literally when you pull the character, this is the art you're going to see for that unit. So I like that it's not exactly like SAO Rising Steel, because in Rising Steel you have to limit break them all the way, but it seems like just pulling the unit, you get this artwork immediately. So this is kind of cool. It looks like Kanata's in some woods. Maybe right after he awakens his power, he's fending off some of these guardians. I think that's what... I forget what they were actually called. But essentially the people who are trying to capture or / kill him. And then you get another picture here, which shows Mizella. This might actually be with whatever it was she was burning down that we saw in the last trailer. So you can see that kind of right there. We got Vicious right here, looking like he's taking down a whole bunch of whatevers. These look like kind of goblin people or something. By the way, the artwork on these illustrations is just top tier. And then our first non-original character artwork, we see Crest just kind of sitting here up against a tree with some birds flying around him. So safe to assume Crest will be on the starting banner since we see his artwork right here, so that's pretty cool. These will obviously be 4 characters on... I mean, it even says here, summon and befriend them. So you will have to summon for these characters. I assume the starting banner will probably have a total of like maybe 8 SSRs total. And these will probably be 4 of them. We'll probably see like 4... I don't know what they're going to do for... It'll probably be a while before we see Aegis, Yuna, and Orwin. I don't think we're going to see SSRs for them day one. Because I don't think they're going to join our party exactly immediately. We'll probably get a good amount of regular Tales characters before that point. But like we've seen Velvet's art, so she could be on the starting banner. And, you know, they might throw some other ones on there too. And then we finally got to see some stuff on the multiplayer battle. So here's what the menu is going to look like for multiplayer. I'm very happy that there's not going to be PvP and it's just going to be like co-op raids. As you can see, the BP is what we use here for these missions, it seems like. Or at least when they open... we're going to look at the next thing here in a second, but when they did it, it showed that you use the BP for these missions. So it's really cool. It shows that you can do it with up to 20 people. So that's kind of crazy to think about right there. Get items for Ascension and Arts training. So Ascension has me very interested. So it looks like there's going to be some form of awakening. Maybe, SSRs go to URs, or like SRs can go to SSRs or what have you. And then arts training, definitely, it seems like the 4 whatever arts you're going to have equipped to each character will be stuff that you can level up right there. So that's the first thing for multiplayer battles. You get to look right here. There's like a chat element for everything. You get to kind of see what everything looks like on the field when you're doing stuff. You got your character standing here. You'll be able to converse with other players who are also doing the same fight. What's going to be important about this is bosses like this are going to have a break gauge. So, and look, you get a whole hour to do these fights. Conversing with, other people, like letting each other know when to do breaks, will be very important for probably some of the harder ones. I feel like with some of these easier ones, if you're really not having too much trouble, you can probably do some of them by yourself if you're that overpowered. But it seems like a lot of them you are going to have to kind of coordinate. So it might be good to find some friends that are Tales fans that will play this game with you, And then we'll definitely do some stuff, like I'll do some streams or whatever where we'll just kind of hang out if we're going to do some farming, and definitely we'll do some streams where I'll put in like a code for the room, and then a whole bunch of people can just hop in. We can do some of these raids together, so that'll definitely be something we can do. They also, contribution points depending on how much you... So basically the amount of damage you do will determine kind of like a score that you get and maybe some points. And then here's where they talk about the break gauge. So it kind of reminds me of Asteria. Asteria has a very similar thing when it comes to like break gauges and stuff like that. So that is something you're going to have to break down before you can start doing damage to the boss. So yeah, but if you deal enough damage while you whittle down the break gauge before the counter hits 0, the enemy will be stunned for 1 turn, plus all attacks the turn after will be critical hits. So that is the key. So you want to like save all your Mystic Arts for when that break gauge goes down, because that's when you really want to wail on your enemy. And then they had a gameplay video here that shows kind of how everything goes during that. I'm not going to play it here, just because you can go ahead and watch it yourself. It's pretty much everything you see here, just in actual motion. Tales of History. Now, this is probably the coolest thing that they revealed today. So, Tales of History is essentially going to be a place where you can look up everything. It's called Tales of History. Title chronology, Tales anime, cast of characters, and Tales games. You're literally just going to be able, any information about a Tales game you would have wanted to see, you can just look it up in here. You know, if you're a newer player to the Tales series, and let's say you pull an SSR for Kyle from Tales of Destiny 2, a lot of players will not have played Tales of Destiny 2 since it was a Japanese-only game. So you can literally go in here and, where was I? I'm surprised they even have Tales of Eternity Online info in here. But you could just, you would have to scroll up and you can look up the characters, and they'll all have like a synopsis of what the characters are, so you get to learn a little more about them. I think that's really, really cool. And then here's the game. It tells you when games came out and everything right there. So that's really cool as well. Right here was just a bunch of Q&A stuff. I don't think I'm going to go over this because this is just kind of stuff they just talk about, when performing, what did you keep in mind? What can you tell us about your character? So nothing here was really like important information besides just kind of knowing about the actors themselves. So you can look at that later on your own if you want to. There is going to be an English exclusive, because they already did this in Japan like a year ago where they did all this. This is going to be for the global side specifically. So pre-registrations count for, and they say it even right here, App Store, Google Store, follow on Twitter, follow on Facebook. So all the follows and pre-registrations in the App Stores will attribute to this. We need to get to 100,000 just to get these, which is, that does concern me, because, even just looking at, like, how many followers this Twitter has, like, close to, like, 8,000 followers, which obviously is not a ton, so that's 8,000 that gets added to this, and then you add the Facebook, and then hopefully with all the pre-registrations and everything, we can get all the rewards we need, but I feel like this next one's probably going to be like 150,000, or it might even be 200,000, then this one might be 300,000, because they do want to, essentially we would end up with 10 tickets total. But I'm not going to jump the gun yet and say that we can't hit it. I'm just very concerned because even like Tales of the Rays barely had over 100,000 downloads in its like lifetime, I feel like, from what I saw when it was still in the App Store. So I won't jump the gun yet on that, but hopefully we can hit all of these requirements here. We'll wait in a few days and see how things go with that. So yeah, they're basically talking about pre-registrations are open. There's Twitter icons and desktop wallpapers you can get, which are pretty cool. This is a pretty cool wallpaper right here if you want to download any of this stuff. I know a lot of people like to use characters as their profile. I mean, I do too. I have Lloyd as mine on Twitter, so you've got these icons you can use here, download and use them. They talk about how we've already hit 300,000 on the worldwide campaign. So there's 2 different campaigns. So there's this campaign, which is for everybody, and then there's the English one that we have to do. So essentially, you'll get 10 summon tickets total if we hit our English ones all the way, and then we get another multi-worth basically from this as well. Which, I'm happy to see tickets, because that gives me hope that it could play like Opera Omnia, where you could just stockpile tickets for whatever banner you want to, and then just, save for that one character you want to save for, and then just use all those tickets on that one banner. So that would be very nice if that's how that's going to work, since I'm heavily expecting this game to have 3% SSR rates, just because a lot of Bandai games tend to start with that, so that is my fear kind of there, so having those extra tickets would definitely be nice. Alright, Twitter poll campaign, they're basically talking about everything right here. We basically have till May 27th to do all that. There is going to be a Tales of Crestoria manga guide that's going to basically explain how to play the game. It's like a little chibi, kind of like manga guide, but it'll give you information on how to play the game if you need help with that. Their official Instagram is going to support English, so you'll be able to see what they're talking about there. They showed off the mascot character, who is called Mieku. I guess is how you would say that. Kanata's party encounters this friendly creature on their journey. Its species is so rare that virtually nothing is known about it, with some even considering it a creature of myth. And after that, that was pretty much everything. We'll go through over these last few messages. This is from the producer, basically saying the live stream had to be canceled because of the coronavirus and everything, but they wanted to still share all the information. Their next plans are to release character movies for the 6 main characters, each of which will shine the spotlight on one character at a time. So we'll probably get like 30-second to a minute trailers that just go over each character. Every video was designed to foreshadow the unique drama of each character's story, so we hope you can look forward to that. As previously mentioned, we are in the midst of developing both the English and Japanese versions with an early 2020 release date in mind. Now, I know a lot of people are still asking, I mean, it's even right here, will JP and English share servers? I feel like there's no more I mean, they haven't directly said it, but I don't see any way that they're not on the same server with all this cross promotion that's happening and everything. It just seems like they are working together to make this whole thing work. So I feel like the game will be on the same server. I have zero, I don't want to say zero, but I have very little doubt that they're going to be separate games. Or I have very little doubt that they're going to be the same game. They just want a little, yeah. So basically, they're still aiming for early 2020 or early June 2020 for the release of the English and Japanese versions of the game. There may be schedule changes due to the coronavirus infection, which obviously is, expected. And then they did their final goodbyes here. They said thank you. Keep checking Twitter for more updates. Let's refresh one time just to see if there was anything else. Nope, that was the last thing that they posted. So last thing to talk about here. So they're going to release 6 character movies. Here's how I feel like this is going to happen. Today is Friday. I don't think we're going to see any more posts today. I think every day, probably starting on Sunday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think we will see 1 character movie each day. And then I think after that, we will probably get an announcement for the English open beta, which will probably start the week after. So let me actually pull up my calendar right here. So I think like on the 3rd or 4th, we'll start seeing the character movies. And then I would say the open beta, probably anytime between the 11th to the 15th, we would see the open beta start. Now, it's like I said before, with these gacha games, I don't see a open beta being something where it's just like, oh, we're just, testing the servers and, you just get to play like a couple matches during this specific time frame, because gacha games don't really work like that. I really can't think of a gacha game I've seen that's ever done that. Whenever they do these quote-unquote open betas, it's always, okay, this specific region of people gets to get into the game early and play the game and test it, and the other regions open up when the game is fully launched, which obviously that's going to make a lot of people just be like, okay, I'll just download a VPN and play the game early, which, is fine. If people want to do that, then they can. I'll obviously do that. If the game is open, I'm definitely going to do that. Hard to expect which regions will be open, but obviously if they do an open beta, essentially that's a soft release for a specific region, I will make a video on how to kind of get that working for you with a VPN. I usually use TunnelBear for those kind of things, so definitely look that up if you're looking to kind of get prepared early. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. So yeah, so they had no announcement as to the release date of the game or the release date of the open beta, but it's literally only May 1st. So I would expect within the next week, we will probably get an announcement of when that's going to be starting. So just stay tuned for that. But other than that, that's pretty much everything to talk about here. There was some pretty decent information they gave us here. And some information, people wanted more information. People wanted a definitive release date or a definitive release date for the beta. And I get it, but with everything going on with the coronavirus, you need to just kind of be patient because there's so many people are all these people who are working on these games, not even just this game, you know, everything else that's being worked on, you know, Tales of Arise, any other kind of game that's being worked on. People are essentially having to work on these games from home, so things are going to be slower than usual. So if there is some kind of delays, you know, they say early May for the open beta, but if the beta doesn't start till like the 22nd or something, you know, it is what it is. So we just got to kind of roll with whatever happens. But let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you guys are excited. What was your favorite part of the information here? I will definitely say with probably 100% certainty that those SSR artworks we saw will be on the starting banner. So if those are characters you want summoned for, especially if you're a Crest fan, that might be something you want to look into, you know, maybe re-rolling a bunch day one to make sure you get that character you want. I might do, my first stream might be, I'm still deciding whether I want to do a stream. I might not, because if I'm just going to be re-rolling, that just sounds like a tedious thing to do on stream. So I think my first few things on the game will probably just be like solid videos. You know, we'll start going through the story and all that stuff after I've decided which account I'm going to stick with. But that's going to be it, guys. Thank you all for watching. Like I said, let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more if you're new to the channel. I'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone.